Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Your Excellency, Ambassador Mohammad Salim Al-Taharti, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great honor for me to welcome you to the official residence of the Foreign Minister. I live up there in the small apartment, but this is a space where we hold these diplomatic events. And I have to tell you that I've been wanting to host this reception from day one, since I became Foreign Minister. But as you know, it's been a very busy 10 months, and I think the 10 months of hard work has really paid off with a wonderful South-North Korean summit last Friday. So in a way, it comes very late, but perfect timing, because this is then our opportunity to brief you on the outcome of the Inter-Korean Summit just south of the Panmunjom last week. And by all accounts, the day's events and the outcome was much more fruitful and fulsome than many of us had expected. So I'm very happy to have this opportunity to brief you. And our special representative for Korean Peninsula Affairs, Mr. Lee Do-hun, will give you a short presentation, and we will field any questions and comments that you might have about that. But before we get to that, I'd just like to share with you some observations about where we are at this point. I think we all agree, looking back just 3-4 months, we were in a very different situation. There was much talk about a looming crisis on the Korean Peninsula, even a military crisis. And there was nothing but provocation after provocation from North Korea. And there was a lot of criticism about our approach to North Korea, which was one of both, yes, pressure and sanctions on the one hand, but the offer of dialogue on the other. But looking back, in hindsight, I think it is also clear that we didn't get here just out of the blue. It was, in fact, the persistence and the consistency of our stance vis-à-vis North Korea and the North Korean nuclear issue that has changed North Korea's calculation and brought us to where we are. And that change, in fact, began with the President's Berlin initiative that he declared in Berlin, and where he visited Berlin for the G20 summit. And using that opportunity, he outlined his vision of a peaceful, prosperous Korean peninsula that included both South and North Korea. And if you recall, the key elements of that initiative is that all we want is peace. We don't want to they confront North Korea. We don't seek its regime change. We're not seeking arbitrary unification or sudden unification. All we want is peace. We want lasting peace, which means we need to move beyond the current armistice regime and work towards a peace treaty. But we also want a complete resolution of the North Korean nuclear issue, but also in a peaceful manner. But we were also very clear that North Korea's nuclear program is unacceptable. Its ambitions to be accepted as a nuclear power is never going to materialize. And if they continue on this road and provoke, those provocations will only be met by further pressure and sanctions. But if they change course, and this was the critical point of the message that I think changed North Korea's calculation. If they change course, we stand ready to engage and to work together towards a better future. And that better future includes a new economic vision for the Korean Peninsula, where both South and North Korea participate and contribute. And toward this end, we need to restart South-North dialogue. This was broadly his Berlin initiative, and as immediate measures, he invited North Korea to come to the Pyeongchang Olympics and Paralympics, and he asked that we immediately address the humanitarian issue of the separated families. And that message has not altered from those key points since then. But as we all know, even after this announcement, North Korea continued to provoke to the end of November 29th being the last time they test-launched a long-range ballistic missile. So all we got was further provocation to this message of pressure but dialogue. And, of course, a lot of criticism about this being a very naive and idealistic initiative vis-a-vis a regime that holds nothing but hostility towards the South and the outside world. But I think the messaging, the persistent and consistent message, proved that it was starting to work when we saw the Mr. Kim's New Year message at the beginning of the year, where he said he wants to restart South-North dialogue, and North Korea will be coming to the Olympics. And the rest is a very accelerated pace of restarted South-North dialogue, and us using the opportunity of the North Korean participation in the Olympics, using that to really engage their special envoys at the opening, led by the sister of the leader, and also the closing, led by the person in charge of South-North affairs, really extensively engaging with them to convey our message so that that message can be fully conveyed to Chairman Kim. I think the chairman heard us, heard the president, and when the president sent his own envoys barely a week later, he was ready to engage and pretty much offered our special envoys the answers that we wanted from him. Our envoys came back, reported to the president, and took that to Washington, D.C., and briefed President Trump. And there, then, President Trump said, if that's what the North Korean leader is telling you, I am ready to engage with him. And so we were now on to hold a South-North Korean summit, but also the first ever U.S.-North Korea summit. So I think the South-North Summit has taken place, and to be just there on the site where this was happening, and I'm sure many of you watched the live broadcast on television, every moment had such great deal of symbolism, and from the first handshake to the two leaders talking very privately, sitting on a bench on a bridge, away from everybody, and all you could hear was the birds chirping as the two leaders were talking. And to the final joint announcement of the Panmunjom statement was a remarkable day. And beyond the symbolism, the quality of the dialogue and the product, the Panmunjom Declaration, I think, is a proof in itself that it was indeed a historic engagement. Now, the next stage, which is the U.S.-North Korea summit. And of course here, we want very much the success, the outcome of the South-North summit to lead into the U.S.-North Korea summit. The place and the timing of that yet to be announced, but we're hoping that that will be coming very shortly. But we very much expect the U.S. and North Korean leaders to put everything on the table. Foremost, the nuclear issue, and come up with an agreement that provides a fundamental solution, a peaceful, fundamental, complete solution to the North Korean nuclear issue, and also a way forward for lasting peace here on the Korean Peninsula. So that's where we are. I have to thank everyone for the tremendous amount of support that the South-North Summit has received from around the globe. I think we're still counting. We have about 90 statements of welcome and congratulations from governments, some 25 at heads of government and state level, and they continue to keep in. And encourages us even more to work closely with the U.S. for a successful U.S.-North Korea summit. But I think the work doesn't end there. The nuts and bolts work of implementing the agreement that comes out will require another. 감사합니다. 시청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 이렇게 우리 한국이 국제사회 외교의 한 중간에 지금 서 있다는 기분입니다. 이렇게 많은 대사들이 오셔서 남북 정상회담 결과에 대해서 잘 청취해 주시고 또 앞으로도 계속 각 나라는 물론 국제사회 전체가 우리의 뒤에 있는 듯한 기분을 느낍니다. 그래서 그 격려, 그 지원을 받아서 북미 정상회담에 성공해서 우리가 할 일을 하고 또 그 이후에 필요한 여러 가지 외교적인 과제에 대해서 열심히 할 각오를 하게 됩니다. 감사합니다.